I will make sure to reserve all questions to the end since it is virtual and we're going to have a couple of more people joining. So we want to make sure we're reserving all of our questions towards the end. And if you don't want to forget any of your questions, we have that chat available. So let's get started. Like I mentioned, microphone, chats, and recording. It is recorded, so this presentation will get sent out along with the recording. So in case you missed something or had to pick up a call, we will all have it available for you. So our agenda is going to be our InTouch contact management, exactly what it is and how we're going to do it, exporting our InTouch and seeing how that process is going to happen, listing alerts and seeing which listing alerts we want to save and which listing alerts we don't really need to move over to our Moxie page. The next one is gonna be the website and content. We want to make sure that your online presence is going to maintain the same throughout your new presence. So we want to make sure that we're saving any of those details that you have on your personal site to migrate it over to Moxie Engage, Moxie website. So everything we're going to be doing is going to be on the InTouch tile. That is where your current CRM, website, and marketing material are at. So within InTouch, we're all going to be in one of the little buttons there, which is the contact section. So it's going to be on the top right with the two little heads on there. That's your contacts. You'll click on there. So the main thing we want to do on this page is knowing exactly how many contacts we have. So each contact has a little box on there. In order to find out how many contacts we actually have, we want to make sure we're clicking the top box right next to name. So if you're on there and you're on your contacts, click the box next to name, and this will give you exactly how many contacts each of you have. That could vary. You could have 20. Some of us could have over 1,200 of them, and that will all depend on where your group are set up, how many people you have in each group, and when was the last time you reached out to them. So one way that I like to mention to look at our contacts, so once you've already seen the number that you have, and it's going to be, like I mentioned, it's going to be the top left number. So you're going to click that top left box. You'll click it and it'll pull up how many contacts you have. And then in order to find out when was the last time you reached out to someone, to know exactly which is your oldest date on there, when was the last time you actually made contact with this particular person, you'll be able to click the arrows section right next to contact last activity. Once you click it, the blue arrow should be pointing up. And that is going to change these dates over here on the right-hand side under last activity. And the way that it's going to do is going to pull up your latest contacts, or the contacts that you haven't reached out, your oldest ones. It'll tell you the last date you sent something out. So this person, he sent something out in 2021, November 2021. But that particular contact hasn't opened anything in the past 64 days. So this one over here, they haven't opened anything since 2020. So that's most likely a contact that we really don't want to bother. We could go in and delete them, or that's going to be another way that you could keep track of, man, I haven't reached out to that particular lead. I know that we're really on it. Let me reach out to them and update their contact and let them know, hey, my listing alerts that you've been receiving will start looking a little different. So just wanted to come in, check in to see if you have any property changes, any listing needs that have been updated. That way I could update your marketing material, and now you could save my new email. That way you're not missing out on any new newsletters or things like that. So this number is going to be a little shocking for some of us, but that's okay. It's going to be the first time we're kind of looking into our contacts from 5 years ago, from 10 years ago, from 6 months ago. So it's good to always come in and have a refresher. So don't let that number discourage you or let the different tasks kind of pull you away from trying to update your sphere, because this is where your leads are held. This is where your potential buyers and sellers are going to be able to keep in contact with you and receive your newsletters, your marketing reports, your listing alerts. So we want to make sure we're keeping top in mind with your contacts. So yes, we're going to see a big number on here, but we'll also be able to see the latest number on there, which will help drop off all those other contacts, all those other leads. There are dead leads that aren't going to be going anywhere for you. Want to make sure we're reserving all of your energy for all of those actual potential leads that are making a headway onto that are pre-approved, that are really actively looking, and not just we'll see how the mortgage rates go, because we know that's another process on there. So we want to make sure that you're spending all of your energy being productive, and being productive also means cleaning up our contacts and migrating to a sphere or a suite that's going to better leverage ourselves and our marketing. So once we've kind of looked up at our contacts and seeing who we want to get rid of, contacts, we will do a bulk update. There isn't a clear delete button. So let's say I want to delete Jeff, and I click on Pamela, and I click on Cami, and I want to delete them from there. We will go to bulk update. So once you hit bulk update, it will actually pop up a little window, and it will say send to trash. You'll click send to trash, and it'll pop up another window saying, do you want to permanently delete these contacts? And you do want to permanently delete these contacts, or else they will be saved as trash, and we don't want that to happen. Let me actually pull up my InTouch to show you what I'm referring to. That way you know exactly what that window will look like and how it's going to pop up on your end. And this is how you're either going to do bulk delete. And most of the time that you're going to do a bulk delete is you most likely have a 2018, 2020 MCAR, SCAR list on there. So you have your old real estate associations on there that you don't need, or you know that you need to update because they've moved brokerages and you have their old email on there. We want to make sure you're sending all of the new material to the new updated email. So in order to delete, like I was mentioning, you'll click the contacts you want to get rid of, and that bulk update will pop up. If nothing pops up, if you don't have anything clicked, that bulk update won't show up. So once you've collected and clicked on the contacts you want to get rid of, bulk update will show up. You want to send these contacts to trash and then permanently delete the contacts. And you're going to hit delete now. It's going to do its magic, and it's going to delete the contacts. If you are deleting a huge group in there, like the MCAR list or the SCAR list, it will take a couple of times for the list to get narrowed down, because there's usually over 1,200 contacts on there. So you will have to kind of repeat the system again, but that's one way that you'll be able to delete those contacts onto there. The next step will be actually checking how many groups you have. So hopefully when you did upload that Realtor Association list in there, you inputted them into a group. That way you know exactly how many contacts you have in that particular group. So that scary number on the top, which was showing 1,200 or 2,000, you'll be able to narrow it down to say, okay, well, at least 1,200 of those are part of an MCAR list. And that way it'll be easier for you to delete. It'll also be easier for you to keep in mind it keeps track of all your contacts that you have. Sometimes you might have a contact in a holiday mailing list that you have assigned for a particular campaign, but you know some other contacts don't want to receive that campaign. This will kind of help you organize that in your setting and say, hey, well, maybe I haven't reached out to this particular group. Let me reach out to them. That way you know exactly how many groups you have and how many contacts you have in each. We like to rely on our technology a lot, but then we also like to fight with our technology. So as much as we like to really support the migration, the automatic migration, glitches happen. So we want to make sure that you know exactly how many leads you have, how many contacts you have. In case a glitch does happen, we will be able to go in and still recuperate and save your contacts onto there. So this is another way to kind of just keep yourself on check on that part and not lose any leads. So once you've already gone through your list, deleted all the contacts you don't care for or that are just past leads, and then you deleted old M-card list, S-card list onto there. Now you've reviewed your groups, you know all of that. What are we going to do next? Well, we're going to export them. The great thing about this is that you don't need to change the formatting of the file. All you need to do is hit export all. And it's like I mentioned, everything's going to be under the contacts section. So the same thing with manage groups, you'll see there. And then the last section is going to be export groups. If you don't really, you could export groups depending on each group. So let's say you have your just sold contact group in there, and you want to keep that handy because you're going to start emailing, sending out letters, emailing them directly. That's one other opportunities where you could export that group only. But let's say you want all of your contacts, all of them nice and saved, then you don't have to change any of those group settings. You'll just go in and hit export. It'll pull up an Excel sheet like this, and it'll have all of the necessary headers that will be able to be imported into Moxie as well. The next thing that will not get transferred over from your InTouch to Moxie will be listing alerts. So listing alerts are all of those that just listed that your clients will receive. And one way to know if you have any listing alerts or any contacts saved up with that listing alert, you'll go under the filter section. So the same, while you're under your contacts, you'll see filters right in the center. You'll click on it. And this will allow you to kind of organize your contacts with just this particular filter. So we're going to check has a saved listing search. This way, it'll pull up all of your contacts that have a saved listing search. So you'll hit search and it'll bring up all of your contacts that have a listing search. And the way that you know is it has a little blue house right on it. So if you go on to your filters and click listings with alert, I would recommend coming back and clicking that box right next to name again, because that is going to tell you how many listing alerts you have saved for that particular section. So if I go back to my account, and if I want to know how many listing alerts I have saved, I'll go to filters, has a saved listing search, yes with alert, hit search, and I only have one. So it's going to pull up my only one that I have saved up. But you might have a little bit more. So in order to find out how many you have, you'll click that top name, hit select. I'm going to pull up a sample. But this is how it's going to be. And like I mentioned, if you click that little box right on there, that blue arrow will be pointed up and it'll tell you exactly the last activity date. So 7 days ago, I sent out a listing search or a newsletter out. And 7 days ago, I opened it up because I sent it over to myself, but you'll be able to see, okay, well, I sent something to them 3 days ago, but this number over here is like 2020. That's maybe something that you don't want to keep that listing alert. So you'll click that little blue box and just delete that search. That way you don't need to worry about it. But let's say she has been actively looking. They've seen everything on the market, and we want to make sure they're not going to miss out that listing search. We want to make sure we keep track. I know it's pretty small. Let me zoom mine. There you go. It's a lot bigger now. So these are the details that you're going to want to save. The location, so it's either going to have the zip code or the city name. Obviously, if they have any beds and bath requirements, it will show up, and also price requirements. Mine, as you could tell, is only for the city of Seaside, so it's everything that is in the Seaside area will be sent out to me automatically. Another thing you want to keep track of is how soon you have it available. That way, you're not bombarding them with additional listing alerts. If they only want it once a week, we want to make sure that we maintain that option. And let's say you go on here and you have over 20, over 30, over 100 listing alerts. Well, this is a good opportunity where you could go in and check in and say, hey, I set this person up for a listing alert back in 2019, and I haven't checked in with them. They haven't checked in with me. It might be a good opportunity to just come in and delete that search. That way you're still having that lead, but you're not going to worry about having to set them up for that listing alert on the new platform. One other thing too is, let's say I'm actively looking at this. That way you'll be able to not have that gap. You'll be able to make sure, okay, I'm not going to transfer over to Moxie Engage up until I know exactly how many listing alerts I have saved up, so I don't misplace any of that communication, because we want to make sure that you're continuing that point of contact with that lead, whether it's from InTouch or if it's migrating over to Moxie Engage. We want to make sure that you're always going to be that point of expert and that point of contact for any of their community needs. And Moxie Engage is only going to be able to leverage you a lot sooner with that, because you'll be able to get leads through text messages and phone calls. So if someone is on your emailed you through Engage or sent out a listing, replied on one of your listing alerts, you'll get a text message letting you know that so-and-so has contacted you. I know there were some features like that within InTouch, but it was a little bit hit and miss. We have tested it out with the text message. I sat with one of my agents and she received the text message and the phone call right away. So it does work, and it's going to keep you a lot more top of mind for your clients and for yourself, that you're going to be able to go feedback to your client right away, and not supposed to, oh my goodness, I missed that email because I didn't get the text message. It was just an email. So those are good talking tracks that you could have with your client, as opposed to, hey, I know you haven't seen any listings on the property, but are your pricing needs changed? You could go in and say, hey, I just want to let you know I'm updating all of my marketing material. I want to make sure you save my new email. That way, you're not missing out on any new properties out there. Or you could also say, hey, have your listing needs changed? I know I set you up back in 2020. It's 2022. Have your family grown? Are you downsizing? So that's another way you could use this opportunity as, yes, I'm going to have to clean up, learn where my who has a listing alert, but this is also giving you that chance to have that warm reach for that contact. And like I mentioned, this is going to be a one and done process. It's going to take you a month for it to this year, but next year you're going to be all set, and you won't have to repeat the process again on that part. So you already have your listing alert, you know the requirements, you know how many listing alerts you have set up that you're going to want to transfer over. We want to make sure that all of those details are saved. And then the last thing, it would be your website content. Just if you have any links, any YouTube videos that you have up there. I have checked a lot of websites and I did see that there's a lot of dead links or dead YouTube videos that you probably want to refresh on your new site. So I would really recommend focusing on your contacts, getting those all situated. And then if you have invested time on your website, then we could navigate and work through that side of the field. But your main focus are your leads. We want to make sure you have your leads available. One other thing I do want to mention is if you are a pro user, you do have contact to the pro help desk. Your subscription will be ending they won't be renewing your subscription. You will continue starting to pay $79 a month plus a $10 MLS activation fee every month. So let's say you're happy with InTouch and you want to continue going through InTouch. Well, starting July 1st, you will have to start paying $79 a month along with the $10 MLS connection fee on there. It's still going to be part of Desk. It's going to be one of those tiles. The staff will no longer have access to be an admin on your site. So your point of contact for any help will be the InTouch help desk. If you also own your domain name, that is perfect. So if you have it through GoDaddy, domain.com, Google, that domain will be able to transfer it over to your Moxie website. But let's say you have an InTouch Pro account and your domain name was purchased through InTouch. If you want to keep your domain name, so let's say you have firstnamelastname.com printed on your website, printed on your signs, printed on a lot of the material. We want to make sure that you have that ownership of it. So there is a way that you could contact InTouch. For a $50 fee, they'll be able to transfer your URL personal domain over to a GoDaddy account. So the way that you'll be able to find out if you are a pro user is let me see. William, I'm going to use you as an example. So the way that you know if you're a pro user, you'll have a phone number popping up. You'll have a phone number on your account under the help section. Zoom this in. So under help, you'll see a phone number, and that's how you'll know that you're a pro user. Another way that you could go is if you view your site, your domain will be a short domain. It will not be a long domain. It will not say genevieveherrera.cbintouch.com. It will have its own domain. Then that's another way that you'll know that you have a pro account. If you don't have a pro account, this is what your website URL will look like. And it will be firstnamelastname.cbintouch.com. So that's how another way you'll know if you have a pro account or not. If you have a pro account, please reach out to your local SSA or myself. That way we could start the process of purchasing your domain and transferring it out to your GoDaddy account. You will need a GoDaddy account. You don't have to purchase an account. The profiles are free. Once you have that profile, then you'll be able to, once you have that profile, then you'll be able to have InTouch move that domain over. I know it sounds a little complicated, but once you're at that step, you can reach out to us and we'll be able to work with you along that way. Keep in mind, if you're not using the migration tool, so within Moxie Engage, there is going to be a button that pops up that says, are you ready for the migration? And this is that magical button that's going to pull everything from InTouch all into your Moxie Engage page without you moving anything around. But if you're not going to use the migration tool, your groups will not transfer over. You will have to recreate your groups in Moxie before you upload your contacts. The system will not check for duplicates. So if you're doing a migration and then you're importing, the system will not catch the duplicates and you will have double contacts in there receiving multiple emails on that. Another note, any notes that you have in InTouch will not be exported in your contact, but if you do the migration, those notes will transfer over. You will need to put your contact list in the Moxie CSV file. So let's say you're not using InTouch and you're using your personal CRM, or you're not using a CRM and you just have your contacts in either your Outlook or in a Rolodex or in your notebook. Then if you want to do them, you will either have to manually enter those contacts or enter them into a CSV file and then import them. So that's if you're not using the migration. If you are using that migration and pushing that magical button, this is what's going to be able to transfer over. So your contacts will be migrated. So contacts will turn into my people. So that's going to be a little verbiage change. But your people, my people, will show up. So their first name, last name, address, phone number, emails, job title, company, anniversary, birthday, and notes will transfer over. Your contact groups will also transfer over. So this is why it's important to make sure all the changes are done in InTouch first. That way, if you hit that magical migration button, all of your hard work that you did over here will transfer over. That's why I really recommend that once you're ready to get rid of InTouch, that's when you process the migration. Don't process the migration and then still use InTouch, because then that's going to create a bigger mess, a little bit more of a confusion for you. So make sure if you're going to be cleaning, clean everything in InTouch and then do the migration over. That way you don't have to do the hard work of creating the groups again, updating statuses, creating reminders, lead source. So the lead source that you were previously used to with Moxie, with InTouch, they were called InTouch or lead specifics or lead generated. Those will still kind of come in through. They will start looking as company leads, and we'll be able to change this setting within your desk profile. So everyone has a desk profile. If you go onto desk, you'll see your picture right on the top right. You'll hit my profile. Your profile will look a little bit more different than mine. So let me actually pull one of you on here. Miss Paula, you're on. So I'm picking you. So once you're on there, this is your profile. You'll find your profile. In order to find out where our leads, where we're going to be getting our leads, it's under this nice lead settings. And this is what it's going to tell us right now. Paula is going to be either getting contacted by text or by phone number, but market leader only contacts through email. So that's why if we move this over, once Paula is ready for that full migration, we'll come in, move this to MoxiWorks. That way you'll start getting those text messages the moment someone enters their contact information on either your website or on they contact you through your Moxie Engage email. You'll get a text message or a phone call letting you know so-and-so has reached out to you. And all of your Moxie profile information will be edited through this portal. So we're trying to make it seamless that you only have to update your profile on one section that will feed through. Unlike before, you had a profile in Prospect Square, profile Moxie Present, profile in InTouch. Now they're getting to the point where they're streamlining everything. So everything on here will get transferred over to your Moxie Present, your Moxie Engage, your Moxie website, and your Moxie Impress. So they've heard your cries. They've heard that there's a lot of different spots to navigate everything. They're now streamlining it all together piece by piece. So always make sure you're using those feedback buttons that you see all over desk. On the question, leave a desk feedback. I leave feedbacks all the time. You'll be able to read other agents' feedbacks and upvote them. Please add TikTok as a social media option because I know agents are now being TikTok advocates. We want to make sure we have that. So all of your pain points, make sure you come in here and enter them. That way we could come in here and also vote them up and make those changes happen for you. And it's as simple as these 3 sections. That's all you need. It even has a picture option. So if you see something else somewhere else that you're like, that could benefit me or our area, you could take a screenshot, upload it, and your voice will be heard. And the more upvotes you get, you'll be able to make that change. So that will be part of all the migration if you push that button on there. And so thank you for getting lost with me. I know it's going to be a lot. I know that it's going to be a lot of eye-opening information. We're looking into our sphere, we're looking into our business, and that's kind of a little bit of shock. But like I mentioned, this is going to be a one and done deal. I'm going to spend 1 month doing it this year. Next year, all you're going to have to do is add those new leads, add the new sales, add those new listings. So now I'm going to open it up to the chat. Let's see. William. If the listing alert has the blue house grayed out, does that mean that the lead has? Yes, correct, William. So let's see if I could come here. So what William is mentioning is under contacts. And I'm going to go to filters. Yes with alert, search. And these are all the little blue houses. There's gonna be some that might be grayed out. Let's see if I can find. So if the house is gray, that means that the recipient either ended the listing alert or unsubscribed from it, and you'll still be able to see what their previous listing alert was, but they're not receiving it anymore. They're not actively receiving it. So that's one listing alert you might not have to worry about, William, to transfer over. So hopefully that was able to answer that question. Next one is, if we have a GoDaddy account already, can we move the InTouch URL? Yes. Yes, you will be able to do that. We will still have to reach out to InTouch. We will have to, hold on, let me find that. So within Desk, there is a little website where you could enter your domain name and your Google account number, William. You will need the Google account number for InTouch to be able to pass it along on the back end, because InTouch uses GoDaddy to purchase their own domains. So as long as you have your GoDaddy account, William, I could send you this link. And I'll put it in the chat as well. That way, if anyone else has a pro account, you could go in automatically and already request the purchase of it. Okay. So William, you will enter this information right here. it'll ask for the domain transfer, and then it'll ask you for your GoDaddy account number. So you will need to have your GoDaddy access to be able to go in and transfer the URL. And let's say you don't know who owns your URL, or you don't know if your URL is owned by GoDaddy, domain.com, Network Solutions. You could always go to who owns domain. And I usually just go to the GoDaddy one. And if I put, because I was working with Todd, so I put Todd 40. It will let me know who owns it. So let's say he didn't know that domain.com owned it. He thought GoDaddy owned it. When he went into the GoDaddy account, he couldn't find it. This is one way we could skip that and just Google our own Google domain and see where we're able to own it, where we own it, and then access through that account. So you'll be able to transfer it. There will be a $50 fee on that, William, but it's going to be charged on the account that's on your account, the card that's on the account. Is there a pro edition available with MoxiWorks? So there isn't a pro edition right now. Everything is available for everyone. They are working in the future of providing design concierge access to create and edit your website. So that's out in the future. That's still there, but they will be the ones that you'll be able to partner up with them, and they'll be able to make edits on your own website. But right now, everything on MoxiWorks is free. You have options. You have access to the whole suite on your end on there. So there is a team version, William. So you're going to be excited for the website. There is a team version on there. We'll work together on getting all your team access, but we first want to make sure that each individual team member has gone in, activated their account, has gone in and played around with their account. That way at the end we could connect everything. So there are great things on there. I could show you a sample of, let me see. A website that I have. And are there any questions? You could unmute yourself right now or use the chat. I'm slowing down on my one-on-ones. I have been doing them for 2-3 months already. So I'm focusing right now on workshops and getting group settings. We want to make sure we're getting a mass transfer of people over, since we do have less than 27 days to go. So we want to make sure that we're giving everyone the opportunity to really dial in and getting their contact put together, getting their leads transferred over, and getting you prepared to work on Moxie. We already got used to the Moxie Presents. I love that suite. I love the functionality, the flow of it. So that same flow will be transferring over to the Moxie sites, the Moxie Engage, and I will be focusing more on the Engage section next week. I know we were still kind of talking about InTouch, but we want to make sure that you're taking advantage of all of your contacts, leads, and we're not losing any important people on there, or making sure that your time is much more valuable with the important leads and the potential leads on there. So this is a sample of what Todd's website looks like and what a website what your website could look like. I need to reset it, refresh it, because I was working on it earlier today. So it's a little on the slow side. But everything is going to be able to go in. I do recommend, if let's say you don't have a domain name already, and if you're still using paulamcnabb.intouch.com or me, genevieveherrera.intouch.com, I think this would be the best time to start looking into purchasing a domain, a personal domain, either GoDaddy, Google, a domain.com, network solution, because the generic URL for this site is Todd Porteous / Northern California.sites.cbmoxie.com. We don't want that printed on your business cards or on your signs. So this is a good chance to kind of go in and start branding yourself. If you have a pretty generic name like Tim Smith or Tim Allen, your URL is going to probably be a lot more expensive. But if you have that unique name or you want to go fancy with it, usually a domain won't cost you more than $50 for 2-year subscription. And then that way you have your personal domain. If you update your website, if you update your branding, your domain name isn't going to change. The landing page might change, but your domain name will not change. So that's one thing that I do recommend if you are going to be migrating into Moxie and using their sites. One particular chat on it. But on here, you'll be able to also do communities, testimonials. So everything you had an InTouch website, you'll be able to recreate in Moxie, but a lot better. Can we get a video landing page? Yes, we are able to create one. It is one of the custom sections, so we will have to build that functionality, but it is doable. We have had awesome samples of other agents who have been playing around with their own sites and have added on video on there. And within the staff members, we're also always sharing new ideas, tips and tricks on how to really spruce up your website. So we're all learning along. So Celeste, Ilse, and I, and Myra, we're all learning on how to work with your websites. And we really want to work alongside you to really personalize it for you. So it will be a partnership between the agents and the staff to be able to work on getting that website built. It will be a team effort. We will have to have your input on there and your ideas and your specialty, your branding, because we don't want to have a cookie cutter website like InTouch was. So there will be a lot more involvement in there, but we want to make sure that you are proud and you take ownership of your brand, of your business, and have that example for all of your clients. So that is a lot. I know I threw out a lot at you, and I've been sending out emails and I've been sending out videos and links, but no, you're not alone. We're here to assist and support you. Ilse over at the Carmel Rancho office, Celeste over at the Pacific Grove office. I know Dallas as well. She's been also hopping in and out over at so she'll be able to assist you kind of over at the Unipro office, and I am virtual. I do want to let you know that I'm split. I do have 2 days over at the Monterey area. So I'm in Monterey Mondays and Thursdays, and I'm in the Santa Cruz area Tuesdays and Fridays. My Wednesday is my virtual day, so it's the day I host my workshops on Sales Pro or virtually. So just wanted to let I am around. I'm just a little bit all over the place, but I still receive your emails. I still receive your voicemails. So I'm here to assist you alongside with Ilse and Celeste. We want to make sure that you are the captain of your business ship, and we want to make sure that you know how to use all your, that way you could do the best and be that community expert for your clients and for your neighbors. I will go ahead and stop sharing and then stop the recording.